Hey everybody, welcome to the Secret History Living in Your Aquarium. Today we're going to be looking at one of my favorites, these little guys. They're Plecos, and these are L144 Lemon Plecos, also known as the blue-eyed long fin. There's also a short fin variety, but what they really are nowadays is an Ancistrus cirrhosis, so a bushy nose pleco, if you will. Pleco is kind of a catch-all name. We've got another one here that's of middle age, and just to show you guys the difference before we go upstairs and I show you some of the babies that we've got going on, we've also got some plecos here. This is another bushy nose pleco. This one is too young to have the bristles on his nose right now, but he's working on a couple. You can see him coming from the lip, and that tells you that he will be having some soon. I think there's another adult pleco somewhere in here, but in any case, they're found in Brazil, Uruguay, Paraguay, parts of Colombia, and basically they're just found all over the Amazon basin. So they're a widespread fish, also Venezuela, a widespread fish. Here we go. Here comes one. There we go. So this is a green dragon pleco right here. If we can get a focus on her. Oh, this is the male. So this is the male, and you can see those nodes on the face. Those are called onodontodes, and they're whiskers, barbels for actually seeing and smelling and feeling water pressure. But they actually have found recently that they go to the visual cortex of the catfish's brain. So it's kind of cool that if we were to see how they are seeing from it, it would actually be another sense, vision kind of thing. Or, I mean, we can't comprehend it, but it would be plugged into the vision part of their brain, which is pretty cool. So, you know, maybe they see pressure waves as some unimaginable color, or maybe they can sense when something moves. Over here, we've got another lemon pleco. This one is of middle-aged as well. We've got a female and a male in these two tanks that are of the same age, and they're just growing out, waiting for each other. Some are more yellow than others, and it is believed that they actually all originate from Ancistrus Lemon Pleco forefather that was one male who happened to have a yellow pigmentation from a shipment in 1994 coming from Paraguay. And now this is what's really special that I have to show you. We're going to turn the light on, but I wanted to get ready before that occurred, and I wanted to give you guys some background to show you some other things about the fish. But in here, focus, come on, we have a bunch of baby Ancistrus. There are come on, focus. Well, maybe you guys can't see the babies. There's one under its chin. And the father guards the cave so that the babies, in theory, don't get out there. You can see some babies now. So that they don't get out of the cave. Now, when breeding, the male will trap the female in the cave. She'll go check it out. He'll leave pheromone trails and sometimes dirt, or kind of just situate it so she fits very nicely into it. A lot of times they'll alter the hillside or the surrounding features of the topography in the water so that their mate sees that it's, you know, an intentional burrow. It's not just a hole in the ground. So they get them trapped in there, and the males must be healthy and strong, because once they get the female in there, they block her off. she decides to lay eggs. What do we got going on here? We got a Corridora convention deciding to come over. I hope they're not all waiting for the babies to come out. But in any case, she lays eggs, he lets her go, and then he fans with his fins in this really cool alternating pattern of one up then one down on each side. So they're all kind of working diagonally. So this back one and then the front one will both go down, while the other one, the front and then the back on the other side, goes up. And it creates a nice little fanning effect for them. Now, some of the babies are getting out today, so that means that he laid them, or he fertilized what she laid, and now they have consumed their yolk sacs, which are their bellies. When they're first born, you can really see it on some of the other colors of Ancistrus or Plecos. But she has, or she's nowhere to be found, but he hasn't been eating or leaving the cave for a number of weeks now. And even though he's not a full-grown male like the one you saw downstairs, that green dragon was full grown. And here comes another one. This is a long fin variant, and this looks more just like a blue-eyed albino Ancistrus, whereas you can see, if we get the light to not be so intense, you can see that the lemon pleco is definitely a different variation of coloration. It's a different gene that actually makes it that color. But they do both have the blue eyes, whereas a true albino would not have blue eyes. These guys are more pinkish white see-through, and this is another male in his area, and he's got the babies, and the babies are going to need to go get food, right? So they have used up their egg sac reserve, and they're going to have to leave and get food, and he's held them in there until their egg sac was completely depleted. And see, there's that motion I was telling you about. You see how he's fanning it? That's because mold, as well as just not enough oxygen, can cause issues for the babies, and especially for eggs that can rot and things, as well as predators, snails, and bacteria. All sorts of things can happen. And so even though we got this littler male who's more delicate and could get his fins nibbled easily, it looks like they're kind of showing off for who wants this cave as soon as those babies are out. Or he could also be wanting to eat those babies. Now, they don't generally eat other living fish. That's just not their MO. They tend to like to eat algae and biofilm, as well as scraps left over. The mother is back in here, and she's kind of in between the two tones of that peachy white color and then the yellow, the bright yellow. This guy's originally from Aquatic Arts, and his father, or I should say his father was originally from Aquatic Arts, and I think Select Aquatics and Grade Sage out in Denver, him and a few other folks had some of the earliest variants of this. And as I was saying, there was one variation in the 90s that caused a yellow pleco. Now, before this, oddly enough, they had numbered and classified another pleco as, quote-unquote, the lemon pleco, but it turns out it was not a common mutation. It was an oddball freak occurrence, and people collecting for the aquarium hobby ended up actually just finding a very strange specimen that wasn't albino, but was either a hybrid of one of these bushy-nosed plecos, which can mix with something like the Starlight, or, there's a few different plecos in the Ancistrus family, as well as some of the other close relatives that can breed with one another. They can crossbreed, just like the leopard frog pleco and the zebra pleco are very similar and possibly can hybridize. Now, in captivity, these guys can reproduce as much as every 5 weeks, And this guy has done it actually so quickly. He's done it 4 weeks back to back as of right now. So I was very surprised to see the babies appearing when they did. And I was really hoping that there's another pair in here that are the blue-eyed albino, even though that's not the proper term, Pleco. They're still listed as L144s as well in here. And then there's the other pair, which is him and another Bristlenose Ancistrus. Now, even after just having his babies, he has actually gained little forks are starting to form on his onodontodes, on those feelers that help him literally sense and see his surroundings. You can see that one in the front is split now. So they get more and more of a picture. We don't know exactly all the functionality of that, but it probably ties into, you know, the lateral line and their inner ear and all that sort of stuff. So they are a fish that is able to live in very murky water and still get around and eat and find things such as little holes to lay their young in, lay the eggs in, with no problem. And in this landscape, they actually kind of shy away from the bright lights and they'll try to find a hiding spot usually. But I wanted to show you that he'd had some babies with the other female Pleco in here that's a short fin. And I know that because I just put the long fins in, and now I would really like to get his really orange color. If you can see, this is real life, that really orange / school bus yellow kind of color. I'd like to get that with those beautiful long fins, but this is his mate right now, is the other short fin. So that is the story on Bristlenose Plecos. You can check out some of my other videos if you want to know how to get them to breed, how to raise them, and all that sort of stuff. But right now, I just wanted to kind of talk about, you know, the origin of the L144 and the fact that there used to be the thought in the 70s and 80s that there was this yellow Pleco out there. And it may have even been caught several times, and what it was probably another form or with melanistic issues, which means its melatonin is off. Now, that can manifest as albinism with the pink eyes, true albinism, and that's interior tissues in their body too, or it can just be the exterior tissues and certain patterns and things like you've seen in corn snakes probably, or other critters. So that is what's going on. This is his mate that's swimming by, and you can see for reproduction age they're actually not that big. He's not even as long as my pinky. So yeah, if you look at, I mean, well, that's not a good comparison, but if you can see my hand next to the tank outside of it, I guess he is about as long as my pinky. So they can reproduce. His first clutch was 4 months ago, so they can reproduce within a year old, and they can continue to live for a long time after that. So that's the story with them. I'm assuming the babies are going to make their way out tonight. I see them keep pushing forward against Dad, and then he repels them. Looks like they were properly scared by the other male coming to thwart things. But these guys will probably go join their older siblings downstairs to go eat algae in those tanks that have a lot more algae. Here we've got some diatom or hard green algae starting in here, and that is a different sort than the stuff they like. They like the softer algae that has little teeny bugs and critters crawling through it, microscopic stuff. All right, guys. Well, I hope you enjoyed seeing this fella. If you want to help me come up with a name, let me know. I counted inside that cave, and there are 37, I believe. It could be 39 little babies at the very back. And you know, if I were to take it and pull it out, he would hold on to it by stiffening this part of his fin, and it has spikes in it. It has like these bony spines, and we weren't sure for years, but it turns out that they do have a form of venom on them, just like Corydoras do. And Corydoras actually have a little gland for their venom right there. You can see that little dot. These guys just sting when if you get hit by them, and it may be bacteria or something of the like, or just an irritant chemical rather than such an established gland. But they can erect their dorsal fin and their pectoral fins, and they hold their body completely rigid, especially when you get them in a net or something. And so you got to be careful not to get pricked by them, because they can flick very, very hard for their size. They really can. All right, guys, I'll let you know when the babies have come out. Please like and subscribe if you stuck around this long, as always. And I'll keep you guys in the loop with what's going on in this fishy, fishy world of mine and this fishy, fishy fish tank of mine. Okay, guys, have a great week. Happy holidays. And hopefully these two breed. And we have some flowy, lovely yellow Ancistrus L144 fancies rather than L144 shorts. So that would be great. Okay, guys, I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.